Hi, hello, how are we? I myself am pretty tired, but let's be honest, when am I not pretty tired? That's just me. Anyway, I thought I'd do a sit down video this week and just talk, but specifically about crochet and my personal crochet yarn experience, stuff like that. So if you don't know, I really enjoy crocheting. I can also knit as well, but knitting takes ages. I feel like with crochet it's just growing more because it works up quicker, so I prefer crocheting. I do a lot of crochet, and I also have 1,000 projects that I start and seem to never finish. Recently in the crochet / Taylor Swift community, Taylor Swift was seen with this crochet mini dress thing that's like orange, brown, lilac-y, like all that, and it looks gorgeous on her, and she was seen around Wembley wearing it. And you know, it came across to me, first time I saw that dress, I was like, oh my god, I can make that. You know what, I can order the supplies now and I can do it now. So I went online, I put all the supplies in my bag, in my basket, I was ready to check out and everything, but then something in my head was like, is this a good spending of my money? Should I really be buying this? And let's sit on it. Let's sit and think, and let's not impulse buy, because I have a habit of doing that. After I sat down and thought about it, left it for a week, spoke to my husband about it, I came to the conclusion that why do I want to crochet this dress? I want to crochet it because Taylor Swift wore it. But am I actually going to wear this dress? Am I going to enjoy wearing it? If I was to crochet this dress, I'd have to wear it with shorts and a t-shirt underneath. And at that point, I might as well just wear shorts and a t-shirt. I'd be more comfortable. I wouldn't have to put extra layers on. So am I just hopping on a trend here? It's just my dog, you can hear. Am I just jumping on a trend because everyone else is jumping on this trend just for the sake of it? And the answer was kind of yes, that's exactly what was going through my brain, that's exactly what I was doing. In reality, if I did make the dress, I would never wear it. I'd enjoy making it, but then it would just sit there unused, and there's a lot of money on supplies just to sit there unused. So it got me thinking a bit more about my habits with buying yarn and purchasing supplies for when I make my crochet, and I realised I very much fall into the category of crocheting is one hobby, buying yarn is another hobby, and that's not a category I want to fall into. I find I don't want to have massive stashes of yarn around my house and potentially never use them, or, you know, never know what to make with them. I've kind of come to the decision that I don't want to just go out and just buy yarn for the sake of buying yarn anymore. I want to sit down, figure out what project I'm going to make with it, and then get the yarn, if I don't already have the yarn I need in my collection, then go out and buy the yarn for a project. So as it happens, I was wanting to start a new project because I mean, I have loads of projects going on, but a lot of them at the moment I need more yarn to finish them off because I started it and I don't have enough to finish it. And I'm at the point where I want to crochet something, but I don't want to buy any more yarn right now. So I figured I would crochet a scrap blanket and go through all the odd pieces of balls of yarn that I've got in my collection that are like half skeins from maybe when I've used some of it for something else, little, you know, when you finish a project you get those loads of little bits of yarn at the end that you don't really use for anything else, they just kind of sit there in your collection. Or like I have quite a few mini skeins and that, and I thought, you know what, I've seen these scrap blankets on the internet, why don't I make one myself? Scrap blankets are basically just all those little small skeins of yarn, ends of projects that you've got left over, all put together to make a blanket. I figured it's a pretty good way to use up a lot of those little scrappy pieces of yarn I've got in my collection, and then, you know, I'll get a blanket out of it. I'm actually making the blanket for my dog, because I have a lot of blankets and I'm sure she'd love it. And I've decided that once I've completed this scrap blanket and I've used up all of those little bits of yarn that I have in my collection, maybe then I can properly think about looking at projects I want to do and then getting the yarn I want and I need for those projects instead of just buying out, because I know I still have a lot of yarn in my collection from when I would just go to Hobbycraft and Poundland and B&M's and all the UK shops that sell yarn and just buy it and spend loads of money and get all this yarn, and I'd never have a plan for what I'm using it for, so it would just kind of sit there. And I'm still facing the repercussions of that years later with loads of yarn in my collection, and I'm grateful to have that yarn, but I also feel I don't want to continue to just go out and buy yarn anymore, just for the sake of buying it. So this blanket's going to help me tackle a bit of my yarn stash, and also just make me a bit more aware of the yarn I'm buying and what I'm buying it for, and you know, instead of just hopping on trends for the sake of it, maybe fully think about what I'm creating. Am I going to like it? Am I going to use it? And am I going to enjoy the process instead of just instantly going to buy whatever just for the sake of it? So the pattern I'm using for my scrap blanket is a star. I will link the tutorial I followed in the description below. But this is what I've got so far. I started this last night and this is how far I got. It's just a double crochet. I know double crochet is the US term, but I learnt the US terms for crochet, not the UK terms, even though I'm in the UK. But it's double crochet and it makes the shape of a star. And all these little bits, all the different colours, are just little bits of yarn I had about in my collection. I've got like mini skeins I'm currently using up the brown. I've got like little bits of pink that I've just had left over. I believe this was a baby blanket I crocheted and I had this left over, so I'll throw some of that in there. I got this one, which was from a calendar blanket I did a while ago. And I've only got this amount of purple, so what other project am I going to use with just that amount of purple? I don't know, probably not much, so I'll throw that into the blanket. And I just think scrap blankets are such an amazing way to use up all these little bits of yarn that you never know what you're going to use them for, and at the end of it you've got a really colourful project that, you know, you can also look back and think, oh, that colourful yarn there, I used that in my calendar blanket. This blue yarn I made a cardigan with, like a little baby cardigan, and I just think it's a really fun concept, and I don't know why I've not fully committed to doing one before. But yeah, I just think all the colours make it even more interesting, and it's nice to see that this is just an actual representation of kind of thinking more about my actions when it comes to purchasing yarn and why I'm purchasing it. I know I have mentioned a couple times in this video as well the amount of unfinished crochet projects I've got because I need to purchase yarn, or I've just lost interest in them. So I might do another video in the future, like going through my crochet projects, seeing if I want to frog it, if I want to continue with it, what I need, what supplies I need to continue with it, and just really thinking about cutting down on those crochet projects. I know in a matter of time, even if I do that and I finish all these projects, I'm gonna end up back again with loads of unfinished projects, because, you know, there's just something about starting a new project. You get that little bit of enjoyment in your mind, and it just, you know, why stop that? There's no reason to stop that. There's no problem with having loads of crochet projects, but it'd still be nice to like tackle them down. So I might do that in a future video. But anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this little rant talk, scrap blanket, little ramble I'm going on about. And let me know in the comments if there's any video suggestions you want me to do or try, or I don't know. I hope you're having an amazing day, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.